Hi gang, this is Mike G from Mr. GTV, presenting on Mr. GTV with this camera and presenting on Mr. GTV YouTube channel on this camera. So I'm live and I'm also streaming. If you're watching the streaming and you want to watch the comments, then you need to go to the Facebook page Mr. GTV, capital M, small r, capital GTV. Now, I've not done a live. Hiya, Sonny. Hiya, how are you doing? I'll just sign in. I've not done lives for about 3-4 months now. A lot of the stuff that you've been watching has been reruns for personal reasons. But we're up and running now with lives. So today we've got Ask Mike Monday. Hi, Kerry. And tomorrow night I've got a Tarot Tuesday live, which was a regular feature. We're going to have more daily features as we go through February into March and beyond. I'm sort of getting back on track with all the interactive lives that you guys enjoy. So let's tell you what tonight's about. It's about the opportunity to ask questions. Ask Mike on a Monday, but it's not really asking me, although you are. What's happening is you're presenting questions to me, I'm giving my point of view, and then it goes into the group and you can add your comments on screen if you're interactive in the Facebook group, and you can also put it in comments in the YouTube channel. I recommend, hi Darren, good to see and hear from you. Hope you're well, my friend. Just to have your point of view, to express it on the screen, to say hi on the screen, and then to go away maybe for your consideration, research some of the stuff we're talking about, and then come back and you can discuss it or just keep it in the bank for yourself. Hi Karen, good to see you. As I say, back on lives now. I've not done a lot of lives for a while. It's sort of me talking to you with a brew, which is what I like to do. 2 cameras working, YouTube live, streaming, and Facebook Mr. GTV interactive. So I put out the opportunity for you guys to ask questions. It's sort of interesting that I don't get many questions, and that's surprising in a way because there's so much going on in the world. I think the value of discussion and open, free-minded debate is the opportunity to express your view, hi Sue, to express your view, and also to hear what other people think. And I encourage you to check back, because over the next few days when this goes live on the replay, people will add their comments and keep the comments rolling so we get a consensus, because when we look at things that are challenging in the world, that gives us a good opportunity to assess what we need to focus on in our healing circles. And that's something else that's coming back, our healing circles. Hiya Bill. So this is Ask Mike Monday, and the idea is that you pose a question. I've got 2 good questions which we can discuss live, and you can also post your questions here for everybody's consideration, and I'll just give my point of view. As I say, never saying that I'm right. So let's get started. I've printed out the questions, and the first question was by Sonny, okay, who's watching. Thank you for this. You were always an excellent contributor. I really appreciate that. You honour me. And you're saying, what are your thoughts on the prison planet theory? The prison planet theory. Give me a thumbs up or a yes or no. Do you know what the prison planet theory is? Do you know? Kerry, do you know Darren? Do you know Karen? Do you know Sue? Do you know Bill? These are people who are watching live and interacting. Now, I'm aware that it's 11 o'clock here in Thailand, which makes it only something like about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the UK. Let's take 7 off 11. Yeah, so it's about 4 o'clock in the UK now. And that might not be the best time for people to interact, so you'll catch up when you see it, maybe when you come home from work, or when you got some free time after your dinner this evening, or maybe over the next few days. But it suits me to do it on a Monday. Hi Michelle. And it not only suits me to do it on a Monday, it suits me to do it at this time of night. So time zone difference. So the question is that I'm going to answer, but not saying I'm right, never saying I'm right. It's for your consideration and for your discussion, either now live in the group or come back to me and write your comments and people will check back. But the question's by Sony, yeah? And it's, what are your thoughts on the prison planet theory? So who knows about prison planet theory? Who knows about prison planet theory? Well, it's been proposed by a doctor called Dr. Silver a while ago. There's been some films made of this, and there's been some documentaries made about this. The concept that the planet Earth is a prison, which sometimes it does feel like it, doesn't it? I always say that the planet is a classroom, and it was also a playground. We learn here, and we earn here, we learn here, and we play here. It should be the Garden of Eden. It should be a paradise, but it's not that. I think we can still get this planet to get back to being heaven on earth and not a living hell. But I also say that when you're going through hell, keep going. So that's all my cliches. But the concept is that this planet was made, created, or simulated into being a prison. That thousands and maybe millions of years ago, aliens or higher dimensional beings or future humans or whatever you want to call these ETs came here, and they brought humans here, that we weren't born on this planet, we didn't come off this planet, that we were brought to this planet to experience reincarnation until we'd learned to be more civilized. There's some people say that we were brought here a bit like, and I've got some Australian friends, but a lot of convicts from Europe were sent to Australia in the past. So there's a massive criminal element in the DNA of Australians, if you believe that, and that is what we're told happened in history, but you can't trust history. So the prison planet theory is that this Earth is exactly the same, that millions of years ago, humans who were created or evolved on other planets were brought here. And the reason that they've said that is because they say that as we are, we're not equipped to live on this planet. You know, one of the main reasons is that we can't cope with the sun. That within our DNA and within our skin, you know, we burn in sunlight. That we haven't got the teeth to eat what this planet provides. That, you know, when we're born, basically it takes us 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to be able to defend ourselves. I mean, you know, although a baby lion, it needs protecting for a bit, a baby lion grows into a pretty fierce animal after 3, 6, 9 months, as does a dog. It can defend itself, you know. Our offsprings, our children, can't look after themselves ever. You know, we as adults, we struggle to look after ourselves in nature. So this is a hostile environment, and if we evolved to live here, how come, you know, we struggle against nature? You know, we're not very good with bacteria and viruses from this planet. You know, we're not very good with the weather. You know, we haven't mastered the ecosystem. We in fact contaminate it. As I say, we burn up in the sun, and we don't survive for very long. So, you know, a lot of people use that as evidence to say that, hiya Richard, a lot of people use that as evidence that this is not our natural habitat, even though we're told it is. Now, I'm not agreeing with this. I'm just saying what prison planet theory is, the fact that we were brought here spiritually to go through reincarnation here, and also we were put here because we're quite hostile as well. You know, we're quite aggressive. If you look at, you know, our history, although we might consider ourselves civilized now, and I don't think we are, you only have to look at what goes on in the news to find out that we're quite tribal and feudal. You know, we take sides and we argue and we fight for our beliefs. We don't negotiate. You know, we don't live peacefully amongst ourselves. You know, we argue amongst ourselves. We've got to get over that. But until we do, you know, we won't be took back to our home, that we've been exiled here, if you like, that we are being punished here. Now, this is the prison planet theory. So it was Sonny who said, what do I think about it? Well, I think it's an interesting concept. I think that any history is simply that. It's his story. It's a story. I don't think it's relevant if it's true or it's not true. I think it's interesting. I mean, the biblical account is interesting. Hi, Stella. The biblical account is interesting. The historical record is interesting. But there's plenty of historical records in different cultures that give different stories about our origins of creation or evolution. If you look at the Mesopotamian story, or look at what it says in the Dead Sea Scrolls, or look at what it says in the Coptic, in the Mesopotamian tablets. Look at what, the Church of England will say. Look at what the Aborigines talk about. Look at what the Native American Indians say. There's a lot of ancient stories that give different accounts of our evolution, of our origins, of where we came from, of who was here before us. And there's also an archaeological record. And each one of these brings forward new ideas, new concepts, as does the question that I've been asked tonight for us to discuss, this prison planet theory. So what do you guys think? Be brave enough to put in the comments box, either now or listen or go and research it and find out. But I think it's an interesting story. I don't think it matters, personally. I live in the now. I don't think we learn from history. I mean, if we learnt from history, then we wouldn't be arguing with each other and warring with each other, battling with each other. I mean, wars don't work. Wars never worked. I don't know anybody who thinks that war is a good idea. We send our sons and daughters, fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers, aunties and uncles off to war, to fighting battles in foreign countries that's got nothing to do with us, for spurious causes, and people get injured, killed, maimed. There's nothing glamorous about war, and yet we still war. So if we learnt from history, wars never work, they never have and never will, they're dreadful, and yet we still go to war. So we're very poor as a species about learning from history. Even the biblical account against the historical record, we haven't learnt. We're still doing the things. If you can choose any messiah, any political leader, any historian, any philosopher, any theologian, any messiah, any prophet, and they're all arguing against each other. Most religions talk about love, and yet they're all fighting each other. And so if this is a prison planet, we're not learning anything. If we've been put here to evolve and learn, we've been here for thousands of years, and there's more wars now than ever. And we're on the bridge of extinction, which possibly is a good idea. And I believe that, there's a reset going on. And maybe history is at the moment going through a massive reset, which would be an awakening of consciousness as this physical reality disintegrates and we come back as something else. And I think that's happened in the past. So what do you guys think? What do you think, Stella? What do you think, Richard? What do you think, Michelle? Is this mind-blowing for you? But that's the question that's been put to me by Sunny about the prison planet. Now, if you've not heard about this before, we'll move on. And you can consider it. And you can put your comments and we can all contribute. But I think it doesn't matter. And I actually think that the physical reality of our perception is an illusion anyway. That they're just stories that come into form through thought, that everything that's in form originates in thought. And that the only difference between heaven and hell on this planet, whether it's freedom or a prison, is a shift in perception. That there is a veil. Listen to this carefully. There is a veil, V-E-I-L, that is shrouding us from seeing the beauty everywhere and the peace that's there for us to enjoy and benefit from. That this world should give us health, happiness and success in life and business. And there's an abundance of resources that aren't fairly distributed. That people are far too selfish and not sharing, and that's being exasperated and amplified by politics, politicians. And this veil is an anagram of evil, Veil is V-E-I-L, and evil is E-V-I-L. It's an inversion of the words. Not by mistake. The evil in the world is creating a veil, an illusion of hell, when really, remove the veil and there's heaven. And we need more people to wake up and understand this, that politics isn't the answer, capitalism isn't the answer, communism isn't the answer, politics, none of the, church isn't the answer, love is the answer. When we start warring against each other, and whether we were put here as a prison planet or not, you can still find peace on earth between your temples, in your mind, and radiate that. And when the whole community becomes a unity, it doesn't matter whether you're in a prison, even if it is a simulation, as has been suggested in the question. It's irrelevant. We'll never know. It can still be peaceful. I've got a fish tank, and my fish live harmoniously in an aquarium that's 2 meters long, 1 meter high, and 1 meter wide. To them, that's their world. My 2 Jack Russells live on my farm, and their world is this enclosure, which is 5 acres, 5 acre farm. And that's their world. That could be described by outsiders as a prison, but they are very happy. My fish are very harmonious. If I put a fish in that was battling with the other fish, that was aggressive or was controlling, dominating, narcissistic, I would take it out, put it in a hospital tank, and then ship it off to somebody else where it can go and argue, put it in my lake. That's what we need to do in this prison planet. We need to be so loving and so kind and radiate love and kindness that anybody who wants to be aggressive by 100th monkey syndrome, hire a net, actually gets overwhelmed, and our peace overwhelms their aggression. We can lift this veil, we can lift this evil with love. But you won't get it watching television, because by watching television you go more into fear. Which brings us into the next question. So if you've got no comments on that on the screen, you can comment later when you've considered what I've said. Thank you for watching me, everybody. And the next question is by Mark Williams. This is the last question, unless you put any questions on the screen for me to answer or consider for your consideration and you want to take part in. So the next question is by Mark, and we're going to be doing this every Monday night. So now you've seen this, you know what goes on. If you've never partaken, if you never took part in Ask Mike Monday, then get your questions ready for next week for discussion, yeah? Because all through the week in the Mr. GTV Facebook group and also on YouTube, because I've got 2 cameras working, I'm streaming also, you got the opportunity to express your point of view. And you can say what you want as long as you don't get us deleted. Okay, keep it positive, constructive and loving. So the question by Mark is, what do we think about the C40 smart cities, which can also could be considered as prisons? Do we all know about the C40, carbon 40, which is a 2040 reset, that by 2040 they want to have zero carbon, which is all about smart cities, ULEZ zones, ultra low emission zones, restriction of traffic. I mean, in Wales, which is where I lived for the last 32 years before I moved to Thailand, that's gone 20 miles an hour. Doesn't work. For the people who live there, they say it's an absolute nightmare, but it's been imposed upon them in a totalitarian dictatorship way against the democratic point of view. As I say, politicians, there's no democracy. There's an illusion of democracy. Nobody voted for it in the same way that nobody votes for wars. But it's been imposed, and there's legislation and regulation, and it's been trialled in certain places. The whole of Wales now has gone 20 miles an hour. There's certain roads they've been brought down from 70 to 50, and certain roads that have gone from 50 to 40, but most roads in Wales are 20 miles an hour. Try and run a business, do deliveries, and get your orders through and receive your goods when everything is reduced to 20 miles an hour. How does that work? Well, it doesn't. Try driving a 530 BMW or even, I don't know, a 1.6 Fiesta at 20 miles an hour. It's changing between the gears. It's not designed to go 20 miles an hour. It's less efficient at 20 miles an hour. It sends out more emissions out the exhaust pipe at 20 miles an hour. It's unsafe. Cruise control doesn't work at 20 miles an hour, and there's no chance of riding a bike at 20 miles an hour. A bike runs on the principle that it's got two wheels which are like gyroscopes, and at 20 miles an hour it doesn't even achieve stability. So it doesn't work. So what's that about? What is 20 miles an hour about? What's your views on that? Write it on the screen, have your say, or post it later. But I think it's control. I think it's restriction of movement. I think it's the thin end of the wedge of you being told to stay at home, like you were told during a recent 2-3 year period, which I won't mention. But you know what I'm talking about, where we had to wear these and get this done. Stay at home. Save the NHS. Don't kill your grandma. And we had all these three-phrase slogans to hypnotise people to comply. It's all about getting you to comply. It's getting you back into, in my opinion, slave mentality, where you do what you're told and you have to ask permission, because what's actually going to happen is they're creating these zones by 2040 and you'll have to get a permit. Now, this isn't conspiracy. You go to your local council and ask them what their agenda is with the 2020-2030 reset, and specifically what Mark's question is. It's called C40, and you've got all the Lord Mayors of Britain. I mean, if you're watching this and you're not in Britain, you might be okay at the moment. You've got all the Lord Mayors of Britain. It's interesting to look at the culture that most of the Lord Mayors in Britain have come from. It's another subject, and I'm not racist. It's just a fact. Nobody can call me racist being here in Thailand. But they're all moving towards electric cars, ULEZ zones, 20 miles an hour, restricted movement, and needing permits to get out of your city. They're creating hubs. They're centralising all the services. They've already changed your rights to ramble. They've changed your rights to ramble. When I was a kid, we used to go youth hosteling, camping as a scout and a scout leader. We used to be able to have access to the hills. A lot of those footpaths are now, you're now being denied access to. And there's certain people, certain elites, millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, who are buying up farmland and open land, green belts, globally. There's islands that are being took over. Hawaii is one. The right to ramble is being removed from a lot of people in Europe, and they are centralising services. So you're going to have banking hubs. All the banks are closing down, banking hubs. You're going to have access to the NHS through hubs, and the hospitals will go. And you'll go to hubs, or you'll do online GP appointments to keep you at home. A lot of flights are getting so expensive and unreliable. Trains are expensive and unreliable. Motorways are down to 50 mile an hour. So when I went, I was travelling all over the place when I was back in the UK, and I'll be back again. Journeys that should take me 5 hours were taking me 7, 8, 9 hours. And there was all these 50 mile an hour average speed limits for no justification at all. In the past, that was for roadworks. No roadworks, slowing down traffic. So, you know, communications between cities was different, and what they're going to do is each city will have its own, almost like martial, its own legislation. So you won't know what's going on. I mean, it's the Hunger Games, isn't it? Have you seen the Hunger Games? Hi, Shelley. And this is what's being brought in, and this is the origin of the question asked by Mark about C40, and he's drawing a correlation between this question and the last question, which was about Prison Planet, about smart prison cities. Have you guys in Britain seen a change in culture since C19? The introduction of restrictions beyond the pandemic. Things that were brought in that still continue. I mean, there is now Aldi's in London, and it's happening globally, where you have to get in, you have to have a loyalty card, and you have to have a, scan the QR code on your phone, and the QR code will be will carry, if you like, some ID, and it will tell big tech a lot about you. And if you don't comply to certain legislation, certain mandates, you won't get that QR code. Therefore, you won't be able to shop. You won't have access to food. You won't have access to transport. You won't have access to education and entertainment, and you won't have access to your money. And if we go digital, which is part of the C40 money goes, you can say goodbye to your freedom. Now, I've said a lot there. These are my opinions. What are yours? The idea of Ask Mike Monday is to have open discussion. Now, I know there's a lot of apathy. Although it's very easy to shy away from these uncomfortable questions and these uncomfortable truths. And I don't want to talk about the problem. I'm here to talk about the solution. And in my opinion, the solution, again, goes back to the first one. It's metaphysical, not physical. That we should pray for this, that we should send positive, loving energy into these challenges. That we can lift this veil, V-E-I-L, anagram of evil, and love our politicians, love our decision makers, love our community, love our cities, love the world, love ourselves, love our lives, and shift the vibration. And if enough of us shift the vibration and change the radiation, we shift the creation. I'll say that again. If we change our vibration and empower the radiation, we change the creation. So if the creation has an illusion, a veil of evil, we can lift that veil energetically, metaphysically. That's what I honestly believe. So all these politics, it's semantics. We are far more powerful, but a lot of people don't realize that you've lost your power. And all messiahs and all philosophers and theologians, prophets and seers and gurus with any credibility have all said that the kingdom of heaven is within, that the power is within, that we have Christ consciousness, that we have creative forces within us that are dormant because we've never been taught, and you can awaken them and be far more powerful with what you've got where you are right now. And I find that very, very empowering. And that's what I teach and preach, and that's what I believe. And I don't allow anybody to take my power away, whether it's a personal relationship or a relationship with some joker on the television, on television, who's trying to increase this veil, this evil illusion of fear, when I think that the world is a wonderful place. It's a classroom and it's also a playground. It's not a prison. Electric cars don't work. The technology is flawed. It's based on a lie. To power up the batteries and to charge them up takes more combustion, more oils, more carbon. And the poor kids that are in the mining the lithium mines are just being exploited, and they hide in that. The car's set on fire, the technology is flawed, only the elites can afford it, and to change a battery in a car that would probably cost you £20,000-30,000 would cost you half the value of the car to change the batteries, and the batteries have about a 5, 6, 7 year life. So just on that, as an engineer, I will tell you that technology is flawed. There's nothing wrong with petrol engines, nothing wrong with diesel engines, and we could have free energy driven cars, and we could have water, hydroelectric power. They're not looking at that because they can't control that. They want you to go down the route where they can control you financially, medically, educationally, politically, domestically, corporately. So from that point of view, there is an illusion of a prison, but it is only an illusion. You can free your mind. So what do you guys think? You're all very quiet, you're watching, but you're not contributing. I'm going to go because I've answered the 2 questions. There's no further questions, so thank you for watching me. I've been on 30 minutes. In the past, some of these have gone on for an hour and a half, but in the absence of commentary, I'll let you think about everything. I'll love you and leave you, and hopefully you'll come back with some comments, and we'll keep the discussion going. And now you've had a soundbite of what this is all about on a Monday night for free with me, Mike G, on Mr. GTV, hopefully. next conversation will be more lively and we'll have more questions. So be powerful, guys. Enjoy your mind. Don't forget that you are the answer to all your problems. You have the answer to all your problems. You are the answer. You are the creator. And all you have to do is shift the way you think. And when you shift the way you think, you shift your whole life experience. Life is wonderful if you decide that it's going to be. Decide it's going to be. Be powerful. Enjoy your mind. God bless. I love you all. Good night.